Good. Okay. We'll call the regular Nisswa City Council meeting for May 16th, 2023 to order. If you'd all rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next item is the consent calendar. Unless anyone has a question or has wants to bring something up, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Also move. And I'll second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Next item is open forum. This is an opportunity for the public to make a comment or bring anything to our attention they wish to bring that isn't currently on the agenda. If you have something you wish to comment on the agenda, we'll make time for you at that time. Well, public forum is open. Is there anyone with public comment? Please, sir.
If you could state your name and address, please.
Luke Vanderarty, 6307 Lendy Drive in Nisswa. You probably haven't heard of Lendy Drive, but I believe it is one of the last two gravel roads left in the city of Nisswa. So you take Nash Way, it's right on the northeast corner of Round Lake. And you take Sumac Trail for about 1/10 of a mile, and then Lendy Drive is maybe a 1/4 mile long. Would like to see the process on what we do to get it paved. It is constantly full of potholes, puddles. I mean, you can barely drive over 5 miles an hour on it. I know it's a pretty big cost to the city actually to maintain it. I don't think the city owns the equipment to maintain it, so it's hired out. So just looking at what we can do to possibly get it paved.
What my recommendation is to you is to have you or your neighbors, or if you have one person from the neighborhood there that lives on Lundy Drive.
That could be me.
Okay, get a hold of Tom Blommer, our city public works director.
Yep.
And he can sit down with you, make a meeting, set up a time or meet you out there, or he probably is aware of the road.
So I have actually talked to him about it, and he just told me to come here and do this.
Okay. Okay, well then what we'll do is I'll let the city administrator address it to Tom.
Sure.
Okay.
Just in general, though, we have talked about getting the rest of them paved.
Yes,
You know,
we
to
have. Yep.
Move ahead, so it's not like a distant thing that's not being talked about.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else? Anyone else for open forum? Okay, we'll close open our public comment. The next item under open forum is the department presentation from the fire department. Chief Bailey.
Good evening. Well, this is our annual report. Sorry, it's a few months behind. We usually like to do it in January, but here we are today. So this year we did 469 calls, which is a 20% increase from last year. EMS calls, 392 calls, alarm calls, fire alarms. No, some are real, some are false. 24 hazardous conditions, 15 fires was 14, car accidents was 14. We had some other calls of 7. That's where we get our mutual aid calls and stuff. We list those under other. And good intent calls were 3. So we put in about 3,002 hours of volunteer hours from the fire department to the city. Go ahead, Jen. This just breaks it down on what each call was, the percentage and what the calls were. We won't spend much time there, but more, the next slide here is better. This is what shows, if you see, we're running about an average of 30 in our off season a month. April spiked up into the 40s. And then of course, June, July, August, September, October is booming for us. And then we fall off in November, but December shoots right back up. So it's interesting. Our calendar year goes from December 1st till November 31st. That's how we run our calendar year, just with the way it works out with the city. So here we go. So Pelican, we had 7 calls. Lake Edwards, we had 112 calls. Lakeshore, we had 61. Mutual aid to Brainerd was 1. Mutual aid to Mission was 1. Mutual aid to Pequot was 2. Nisswa had 172 calls. So Nisswa carries the load. Training highlights, we're all EMTs or EMRs. We do the refreshers, we do ice rescue, hazardous equipment, environments, boat and water rescue, roof ventilations, pump operations, drivers operations, vehicle extrications and confined space. That's in my monthly report every month. But what we do every month. Go ahead. Events that we do, we focus hard on Safety Town. We should come up and help Amber. And then we do fire awareness at the school and at our fire department. It's an open house. We got our annual fishing derby. That's our largest fundraiser. Brainerd Outreach. We help the outreach program over here, pack food once a year. Touch a Truck, we bring it in, try to bring it in the city and some other stuff for Touch a Trucks. Of course, our fire safety open house and then the haunted barn. So that's what we focus on every year. Go ahead. So here's all a list of our members. We won't go through them all in their years because we're going to do that here in a little bit. Top 10 responders, myself with 243, Lizzie Thurlow with, is that 218? Richard Geike, 209. Justin Stanky at 188. Josh Weigmeister at 140. Matt Hall at 113. And you got Joe Hall at 112, which I don't know how he has time for that, but he does it. Doug Buell, 97. Luke Hall, 97, and Adam K at 83. Go ahead. So this is our command structure. Myself and Joe are on the top, and this is how it all falls in. We have our 4 captains. Since you guys approved the 4th one, we added in Josh Weigermeister, and then our firefighters. Okay. So our focus is, if you want to read through this, repurposing our old command vehicle. We got good news last week. Our new command vehicle will be here June 5th. That's a blessing in disguise. So we're looking to equip it with a Lucas device. So we need to come up with a Lucas device of about 12 grand. We're looking for a refurb one. It's what it's going to cost us. Purchasing wildland gear, that should be here next week. So that focus has been met. Grant efforts for a new brush truck. We have wrote for a new grass rig. So we're hoping that comes through with FEMA. Tender pumper, you guys just approved moving the money that's been following me back to our sinking fund. So now we have funds to move forward with that truck purchase. So we're hoping to get that done within the next couple of months because it's going to take 2 years to get it to build. So, and then every truck's been equipped with active 911, either through our phones or through iPads. So recruitment and retention efforts, right now we have about 4 that are following us. So we're doing pretty good for recruitment and retention. So everything looks like we're moving forward pretty well. That's the end of that presentation. So how do you want to proceed? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to these years of service. The city and our, what's that committee called? The Employee Retention Committee recognizes all the employees of the city of how many years of service they've had. Well, the fire department's never been recognized. So tonight we're recognizing them all. And we'll start at the top and make our way down. And Mr. Ryan agreed that anybody he draws blood on, he's going to buy him a lobster dinner at Bar Harbor. So it's a good deal. And Mark is going to help pay for it. So if you want to throw him on under the bus too, it's a good deal. So the first one would be Ed Carlson at 36 years. Ed, come on up. As we call you, I want you guys to come up. What comfortable ones. Our next person will be Richard Geike with 36 years.
Like you to announce you.
You can give me the last.
Yep, okay.
Chuck Doolum will be 31 years. You wanna go last, Joe? Or what?
You last.
No, we'll bring him. Joe Hall with 18 years,
Oh, how are you?
one of our council members.
You are not in order. No, you're not. I know, I'm trying. You did not. do that in order. Sorry.
No. Yeah, we got it figured out. Joe, or no, Matt. Matt Jorgens. Matt Jorgens is 17 years. Doug, make it. Is he here? Doug? So we have Doug Buell. We have a medical call going on right now that two of our members are out on. But Doug Buell has 16 years, but he's not here right now. Our next one is Andy Schaefer of 14 years. Luke. Yeah. Luke Wallen of 11 years.
Sorry.
Nate Peters of 10 years. So Diane Townsend is not a firefighter with us. She's one of our first responder EMTs. And she has 10 years. Diane, come on up. Bruce Edsberg is not present tonight. He's also got 10 years as a first responder. He's at EMR level. Then we have Justin. Justin Stanky of 9 years. He's currently one of our captains at this point. Pat Foster, 7 years. Our next member is Noah Cronstead. He has 7 years with us. He's currently out on a leave of absence until October, November. Zach Morris is with us for 6 years and he's not present tonight. Bradley Burns with 5 years. Josh, make it. Josh Wagmeister is out on a call right now. He's one of our captains. He also has 5 years in. And we're back to Adam K. And we're gonna let him pronounce his own year. And he has 4 years in. How do you pronounce it?
Kainalainen.
Okay. Okay. I'll let you pronounce it. No, you ask him. Dale Jordan with 3 years. Dale, you make it? He can come by. And John Sedegren with 3 years. Lizzie Thurlow with 2 years. Luke Hall with 2 years. Then we've got Matt Hall with 1 year, or no, 2 years. Matt Hall. Mike Hemrick with 1 year. Did he make it? He's out on the call too. And then Caitlin Latrinka with 1 year. So as you see, we have a young department. We really do.
And last but not least, Sean Bailey, 31 years.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
You guys are free to go. Thank you. Oh, hey, all firemen, we're gonna go to the fire department and take our forward. Sorry, Joe, we'll have to show the Photoshop again. Thank you again. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank you all.
very much.
And your spouses, families, and everyone else that serves right along with you. Next item on our agenda, we'll move on here. City Administrator Monthly Report.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Good evening, members of the council. My monthly report is in your packet. Please let me know if you have any questions on that. Our city engineer will give you an update on some of the projects that are happening right now in the city. There's a lot going on. And just a couple of other quick updates. Bethany held our first annual Lake Association gathering last Friday. It was a great turnout. You might have noticed the pictures we had up before the meeting started. So congratulations. It was a great event and it was very well received. So we look forward to doing that again in the future. And some good news, the PTSD legislation did pass both the House and the Senate. And so that'll be going to the governor's desk for signature. So that was a successful venture and I appreciate the council's support in that. More to come with the legislation. There's about a week left and, you know, a lot of things still to do. So I'm happy to answer questions if there are any. Thank you.
Any questions for City Administrator?
I was speaking with a city council member from the city of Brainerd in regards to a bonding bill that failed to pass on Friday, state legislature level. Can you explain that more? I did really not know much of anything about it.
To be honest, I haven't followed that really closely. I certainly can follow up on that. I know there's a lot of trying to wait till the last minute to,
Yeah.
you know, get, you know, posturing and things, get some things
Yeah.
in the right way. But yeah, there's a lot up in the air still.
Yeah.
So.
All right, understood.
Anyone else have anything for Jane? City Attorney. Okay. City Engineer.
Good evening. Jenny alluded to a little update. As you know, that on Monday, we closed 77 for Grandview and the roundabout construction there. I think we're having some obvious issues with a couple of the roads. We tried to put some signs on there today, so that might be up tomorrow to try to divert some of that traffic and give them a little bit more of a, and we don't want you to come in here type of thing, but I probably won't work. And we all know the route that everyone's taken. I assume Joe knows it real well. It was pretty busy there today. with Grand Lake, the trail, that too has started. They plan on starting down on the end of Hazelwood Drive. And working their way towards Lower Lake Road and then down 77. Not 77 for your project, but 77 for the lakeshore part of it. And the traffic there is mediocre. I think the closing of 77, you know, at the intersection, Nokomis there, probably is helping out that section a little bit, but I know it's probably going to irritate everyone for a while at the lakeshore end. July 14th is the date right now that we want to have it open. And weather providing and other things that go along with construction, hopefully we'll get there. You guys got any questions about it too?
Just
Fire-
one quick question. Can we put the speed limit sign back up so people know the speed on the road? Those are all taken down.
I think the 20-mile-an-hour one was set with bags. It's right by it's not on Hazelwood.
But that's just
check 'em.
suggested. It's in yellow, so the speed limit's actually still 30 on the road.
Which still stands regardless. So we're, I think, trying to just add additional signage to hopefully get most people to abide by a lower sign, so.
Yeah, correct, except it's the wrong side kind of sign. You know, that's just suggested when those conditions permit and everybody knows it's still 30 or
Yep.
doesn't know. And then unmarked roads either 30 or 55. And so people don't know if it's 30 or 55 that haven't gone on that road. So, and I actually talked with law enforcement, you know, and that's one of the biggest things, you know, pulling over the people right now. They don't know what the speed is supposed to be. And so that's actually creating an increase in speed because they don't know.
I think if I'm not mistaken, the residential roads are 30. That's the way it is, period.
Correct, but
We don't have to put a sign up for that. That's the city standard. If I put up a different sign, that's a white sign that has speed limit on it,
right,
that is changing the speed limit. And you can't do that without a deal. I can put up yellow and warning speed limit signs, and those we can put up to try to slow people down.
no, I agree with all that. I think where the confusion is coming in is people that may not have driven on that road don't know it's a residential road for 30. You know, I think that's the confusion. So a rural county road is 55, a rural residential road is 30. I don't know if they're identifying which road they are on to make the assumption of 30 or 55. Does that make sense? So, you know, a lot of people haven't gone on the road. And like I say, that's feedback directly from law enforcement that I've talked to now that have been pulling people over. That's the feedback from the people that have been pulled over speeding on the road. They don't know what they're on. So I think that's what we're running into.
Are there the advisory signs though? I'm just making sure I'm following advisory.
So
signs,
there's
but just not
advisory
the particulars.
signs. But yeah, advisory signs are just that, advisory. And, you know, when conditions present themselves, you know, share the road people. And so
Sure.
that's how those work. But like you say, that actually doesn't change the speed limit. So,
Correct.
so I guess what I'm doing is I'm giving feedback from everybody. This afternoon, I talked with law enforcement that has, you know, from Nisswa PD that's pulled people over. And that is the feedback. They don't know what the speed limit is on that road because they've never been on the road. They don't know that it's a residential street versus a, you know, a county road, or, you know, people just don't know. So I think that's where some of the confusion is coming in and where the speeds are increasing. So that's just, I guess I'm just sharing the feedback that I got directly from law enforcement.
I'll make
Yeah,
sure,
I
I'll
think-
make sure the police department and public works are coordinating.
We'll look at that too on
Yep.
Lower Right Road. Another reason why I'm putting up two additional westbound signs on 371 right at Hazelwood Drive, and then one right at 18.
Sure.
And then as immediately turning, local traffic only signs will go up there. For each one of them. And we're only doing that to try to get people to know, to either deter from going through there.
Right.
Or when they go through there, at least they're knowing that they're going through someplace that's gonna be under construction. So we're gonna try that, and we'll look into the signs too, that if some are down, put 'em up
Yeah,
for
like I
the-
say, that's the feedback that I got when I talked to law enforcement, so.
And I, you know, the only thing, other thing I can say to that is the people that haven't been on Lower Roy Lake Road. Probably shouldn't be on Lower Roy Lake Road and should be taking the.
Right.
They're going there now.
Well, maybe they need a ticket if they're speeding, so.
Sure.
We'll look into it though. Thanks, Joe.
Sure.
Any other questions?
No,
Thank you.
right, okay. Next item is new business. First item in new business is a special event permit application request for a road closure for the A&W Car Show for July 8th. This is the car show. We've done this how many years in a row now? Second year, yeah. My only question on this, are you gonna be able to get this, whatever you tie the banner to actually stand up? That was interesting last year, trying to get that to stand up. So you have to tie it off to a couple of cars. Yeah,
What time are you hoping for vehicles to show up and park? Classic cars? Hours. That's a lot of repair floats until 5. Yep. Sure. Well, I look forward to attending this year and look for an orange car.
okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special event permit application for the NW Car Show on July 5th, 2023.
Second.
Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll see you then.
See you then.
Well, probably before then. 'Cause it's- next item is temporary beer license for the Nisswa Firecracker Run. It's for the Recess Factory. Again, another. Anyone have any questions on
I think
that?
the only comment I'd make, because me and my girlfriend attend we're attempting to run this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to have a beer after it, but I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be happy to stand at the finish line and cheer you through.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the temporary beer license for the Nisswa Firecracker Run on July 1st, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 2023-24 City of Nisswa liquor license renewals. Anyone have any questions about that? None. I'll entertain a motion.
Also move.
Second.
All those, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next item is the city ordinance amendment to 01123. Bethany.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. At the April 4th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, it was discussed that Chapter 20, Section 2630, lapse of permit extensions regarding conditional use permits should be amended to clarify the extension request process and to increase the length of time for a valid permit. The proposed amendment increases from 6 months to 12 months, the time an owner has to act in reliance on the approved CUP. It also increases the deadline for completion of any work from 2 years to 3 years. This gives property owners a full year to begin their approved project and the entire 2 years of a valid land use permit to complete any work to be done. In addition, the amendment clarifies that an extension must be applied for prior to the expiration and that the request must be made to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission recommended approval of this ordinance amendment at the May 2nd regular Planning Commission meeting. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions of Bethany? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the Planning Commission ordinance revision for the permit timelines as presented.
Have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Mayor, can I please have a motion to approve publishing the ordinance summary in the newspaper?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Request from Parks and Rec Department, reference marketing proposal from HKGI. Amber.
Yeah, good evening. In your packet, you have some information and some examples regarding a proposal from HKGI. The Parks Commission reviewed this information at the May 4th meeting and felt that these 3D renderings could bring the park to life and be used for years to come as the projects evolve. So based on some of their feedback, we felt that this would be a good course of action to go right now. They would provide, I asked them for a few different things where there's still shots. You can add in a animated portion to do what they call a fly through to walk you through the park. As well as some infographics. I don't know if we have enough information at this time to build those out. So the recommendation would be to start with the 3D graphic renderings and can evolve from there. This would just be for the images. It does not include any of the marketing of it, the social media, the newspaper, any of that, the website management. It would just be the images.
Question that I had when I was reading this was if there are any proposed changes to the parks plan or the parks design, is that gonna constitute a change order from HKGI in regards to this marketing approach?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Everything is pretty conceptual right now.
Sure, yep.
Nothing is been vetted for feasibility or design.
Do you know how much they're gonna provide, like how many different angles, photographs, stuff like that?
Kind of based on price point. So they did our master plan, so they've been with us through this process. And so they kind of understand that we're working through exactly the scope of this project. So within whatever price range we can determine what we want. For their example, 2 to 4 images were about $3,000. About 8,000 could build out 15 to 25 images.
And we're more or less needing to proceed forward with HKGI instead of a second or a third proposal because we have had them create the master plan originally. Is that kind of the thought behind it? You didn't go out for additional quotes more or less on this.
No, at the retreat, I brought you those 2 local options, and that is mostly facilitating the outreach, where this is creating some of the content, and that's kind of how I see them differentiated. So it's certainly a place to build off of. But no, we did not go out for quotes or anyone else. We just went straight to HKGI because they did the master plan.
So quick question then. Are they, how are they presenting it to you again? Just with a few pictures, or we get the full rendering 3D virtual reality video walkthrough, or?
Up to the price point we select. So they did break it down a little bit. So like on the low end, if you just wanted 2 to 4 images, like we want to bring pickleball to life, we want to bring the hockey rink and the warming house to life. You know, that's gonna be give or take $3,000. If we want to animate or do a 3D rendering of all the parts of the park, that's gonna be closer to 8,000. And then you can add on about 2 to 5,000 if you want the full animation. So on the high end, if you want everything on here, give or take 15,000.
I think when the discussion came up in the Parks and Rec, I mean, and also at the retreat, and Amber brought forth those proposals from local companies. It was just some flyers that would be made. She reached out to HGKI, presented to the Parks and Rec, and they'll actually have some pictures, you know, it'll spice it up. The other thing too that came out of the Parks and Rec that night, that meeting, was that was the fact that if you had these pictures and they were placed in the general area of where that's going to be, that might help with the fundraising too. and also with HGKI, if we do the pictures right now, and then as we get the more of the concept, I think that's when I think would help with, if we need the fly-throughs and stuff. The more, but
So I guess just running software from the imaging, it looks pretty darn close to software that I run and whatever. The stuff seems pretty astronomical because the way you draw this and produce this, then you just render it. It's a click of a button, and to pay, I guess I'd have a tough time swallowing to pay another $3,000 to $5,000 for a click of the button to render something like this, the way software. I guess I know the way that software like this is set up. And so I don't know. Obviously, I'm not directly talking with them, but my background knowledge on software like this and doing this, it seems pretty pricey is what my gut is for what, like, producing that picture right there. It needs to all be drawn in 3D. And so to do the 3D software, the process is called rendering. You put it in and you do the fly around and render it, and you literally hit click. And I'm not a computer guy, but I can do it. And so I'm just saying, I don't know that the skills with that justify the price that they're giving us. So I would maybe try and negotiate and say, hey, this is what we want. Would you be willing to do this for X? Would be my feedback on this, just because I know what's going into the background. I don't know.
So, and part of all of
Seems
this,
pretty pricey.
sure, trying to just figure out, as we build the scope of the project and what exactly we're marketing, when
Right.
we're marketing it, and that's what I'm trying to understand from you guys in terms of price points. If there's examples for how you'd like to see this done, if this is a better avenue to go down with the money, or are we looking for somebody to just facilitate the social medias and kind of those things and content creation, and just trying to get some feedback from you guys as well.
I think this is a great avenue to go down. I think that we're spot on what we're trying to do.
Okay.
I think maybe the proposal to get this done from this company is pretty pricey from what I know exists out there in the market, if that makes sense. So just my feedback on it. I think we're in the right spot, the right realm. The 3D, the virtual stuff, that's all great. I just don't know. I guess I don't see the cost aligning here from what I know.
I reached out to a family member that does graphic design, this kind of stuff, and they thought that was a pretty reasonable price. I mean, theirs would be more, but then again, we can always ask them if, hey, can we do this for $2,000 or whatever, see if they are willing to come down.
Right.
Mayor Ann, can I?
Mhm.
Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, and part of this is, yes, we want to look at incorporating something like what we have from HKGI, but really the ask is to spend the 10,000 or to authorize the 10,000. So we can incorporate some of this and some of other marketing things to do some outreach this summer, right? So ultimately, we just were looking for some flexibility. This is the idea we're going down, just the path, and certainly, yes, we want to get some feedback on cost price points so we know what we're doing, but
Yeah,
that
so
right?
in the memo that was in your packet, a suggested amount was $10,000. That would include the creation of some of these 3D renderings and then helping to facilitate any print materials or outreach efforts, those ad campaigns and some of the dollars that might go towards that. So information from you guys, like what price point would you be comfortable with, and what would your expectation be at that price point would be helpful for me. And then I can go back to HKGI and see if they can make that work.
So one question, are you locked in with them on, we need to continue moving ahead with them on this? Or can we take the drawings that they've provided already and take it to a third party per se and say, hey, will you render these and do these 3D for us? Like, we own what they've already given us, correct? We can take those and do with what we please.
Yes, it's in our public master plan document. We have one image. And so they do have the background knowledge, but no, we are not locked in. on any sort of our obligations and contract with them has been complete.
Yeah, there are several local companies that do this that I'd be happy to share that information with, to get a quote, to just see if there's a significant difference if we wanted to do that. I just think that we could probably get the 3D flyover done, the drawings all done at, into this quality for significant price difference, is my opinion from what I know out there in the market. But I think this is exactly what we want.
Okay.
Or that'd be my feedback
Mhm.
on
That's
this-
helpful.
the avenue that we want to go down. I just think that they have a pretty big price associated with it.
I don't disagree with that notion at all. And you're requesting a budget of $10,000. I think the intent is with any amount of budget, being in taxpayer dollars, you're gonna be as frugal with it as possible. I have not had to go through a 3D rendering portion before. I do know that it costs about $5,000 or $5,500 just to redo a website for our companies. I thought that was pretty outrageous. But I think in this day and age, unfortunately, and I hate to say unfortunately, because it's somebody's livelihood, it's just a lot of money for marketing content. The return on the investment is hopefully additional fundraising purposes. I know that you're gonna be seeking, but I think to Joe's point, to try to bring home is if there is an avenue to try to squeeze this down a bit more. Our slides don't have to look exactly like how these slides look or what they're gonna end up being over there. If they're able to, how much to sell these and go through a little bit more of a tighter process of it, I'd be in favor of. If we push it back 1 month to give you time to be able to do that, are you comfortable with bringing it to the council next month?
I can certainly attempt. It is coming into busy season,
Yeah.
and so I can try to keep that timeline. And especially if Joe, if you can get me any contacts, that would certainly give me a jump on it versus hitting Google.
Yeah, and for you even to come back, I think, even yet this week, I could get you in touch with some people where you could get an answer. And I would say, let's move ahead. I would feel comfortable move ahead and just say, yeah, if it's within the $10,000 budget and, kind of meets these 3D expectations, that you have the reign to just move ahead with it on your own. Now, I don't feel like you need to come back.
No, I agree with
Right?
that.
I would say we
just-
set a
let's keep the
$10,000
ball rolling
budget
forward.
for you.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Set the
Which is how you have it.
$10,000 budget and that.
Which is all you have
includes-
proposed.
right,
Oh,
like,
reach.
yeah, let's see if we can get a 3D rendering and like images like you're showing there for that 10,000, and I'll maybe give you some names.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
I'll make a motion then.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget request of $10,000 for the marketing proposal from HKGI in regards to the Nisswa City Park.
I wouldn't say from HKGI.
Yeah, just,
No,
We just want to propose a $10,000 budget for marketing purposes, and then Amber said,
for renderings and videos of a 3D park.
so
Not to only include, or to not to only come from HKGI, but additional avenues.
I would just leave it as a marketing budget of 10,000.
Yes, a marketing budget of $10,000 for Nisswa City Park
I'll second.
as presented.
second,
I second.
Okay.
All right.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'm never gonna butcher a motion like that again.
Yes, you will.
I hope not.
Until the next time.
Until next time.
Number 6, Gull Lake Trail Project, change order number 1. Anyone have questions?
Nope.
This is, I'm taking it for the garage.
Correct. Yes, 6,500.
I'll make a motion to approve the Gull Lake Trail Project change order number 1. And,
The amount of $6,500.
oh, I'm sorry, in the amount of $6,500.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. Next item Next item is change order number 2. This is for Gull Lake Trail Phase 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the Gull Lake Trail project change order number 2 of a decrease of 52,500.
Question on that, though, why is a change order, why is the decrease being considered a change order? Would it not just be a reduction of scope, contract modification?
Historically, we do both sides. So any changes
City
to the
considers
scope,
a change order?
correct?
That's-
Yes.
I
And
wish
it was
I-
significant
I wish we
enough.
had it that way too.
Right. It only means more money.
Yes, well, in this case, so moved.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Agreement between the city of Nisswa and ETOC for roundabout maintenance. Jenny? Anyone have-
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. This is to allow Grandview to maintain the interior of the roundabout. Once it is constructed, they will manage that and take care of that going forward. The city will not spend money doing that, and they have reviewed it and signed off on it, as did the city attorney.
Okay,
Joe, is there water being pumped on it? Yeah. Don't have any other questions? Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the maintenance agreements between City of Nisswa and ETOC.
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve Nisswa Enrichment Fund, BLACF.
This is the fundraising fund with the Brainerd Lakes Area Community Foundation that council approved last month to move forward with. And so this document would just be giving the community giving foundation notice that the city would like to open that. I'm referring to it as the Nisswa Enrichment Fund. And then we will be able to take donations. We can group it by type, pickleball courts, playground, whatever the city is looking to fundraise for.
Okay.
Any questions?
I don't have any. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the Nisswa Enrichment Fund agreement with BLACF.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item is a request from the fire department reference a wage increase.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the request from the fire department wage increase going from $20 per call to $25 per call, starting January 1st, 2023.
I have one question on that, though, before we approve it. Thank you, chief.
Yep.
Looking at this and it's saying there has been no wage increases for the past 15 years. That is my question. Why has it been 15 years? There hasn't been any increase, I guess.
Because we've been happy.
You've been happy.
Yes. I mean, just in
now
the
that it
last
costs-
couple of years, gas has gone up. We should really back up. All the members you saw in here today and all the members on that roster, they're not in this for the money.
That's right.
They're out there to help the community, help our city, and we just want some appreciation from everybody. So we started this paying, when I started, we got $7 a call and $7 a meeting. Then it went to $10. And then I would say about 15 years ago, we went to $15. Maybe it was, I don't know, it was along the way of my 32 years. So we went up to $10. Then we went to 10 and 15, 15 for a call, 10 for training. Then we went to 15 for a training and 20 for a call, and it's been there for many, many years. So I look at the budget, I can run a report right through our the state reporting system, change the numbers. My budget went up $12,000 this year. A $5 increase per call will bump me $10,000. So why I picked 5 and not 10 is because of the numbers, just how it works out.
Sure.
So why we haven't asked for one, it just hasn't been on our radar, but I think it's fair now, you know, gas is more expensive, insurance is more expensive, vehicles have gone through the roof. You know, and it's from start to finish, you know, we're looking anywhere from 30 minutes to 5 or 6, 7, 10, 20 hours. I mean, Joe's house, we're out there for 10 hours. So I
And
think
you're
it's,
in your department, your guys and gals are driving from their home or wherever they're at in their personal vehicles, driving to the location,
So how-
regardless of the distance.
yeah, so how it works is the first responder calls, we respond right from our own homes and we go to their homes. Any fire related calls, they're required to respond to the fire station and get into our fire rigs and respond out. So that's, you know, they're always using their equipment. So I think it's something we should do. I really do.
And
So
that,
I would like to go up more, but our budgets just won't do it.
well, which is why I'm glad you presented in that manner, which is why I'm just asking to get the opinion of the rest of the council is to. I think the city's done a great job in trying to standardize some procedures within the city and specifically saying, you know, the employee retention committee and having a good step schedule for employees having increase in pay, compensations, COLA aside. Is this something that should be addressed annually? Do other cities address this annually? We want to try to make, obviously, our departments as. I know none of us are here none of us are here for the money.
Yeah.
We're here for our community, and that's plain and simple. But is there is this something that we're getting by with cheaply, or is this something that we should be doing more?
So
for the
to
fire
give you a
department?
little background, Pequot does per call. Mission does hourly. Cross Lake does hourly. We do per call. So we're getting by. I don't want to use the word cheaply because we're not in it for the money, but we're getting by cheaply. Payroll runs us just around the $50,000 mark. If I plug in $15 an hour, that goes to 80 grand. So it's like, where do you break even? I don't want to pay my payroll, all my budget and payroll. I still have to function.
Right.
So I think at this point, until we get further down the road and get budgets under control and, you know, because we still have 4 other contracted areas that we have to go and present this to get these kind of numbers.
Right.
You know, it's not just Nisswa.
Right.
So I think at this point, it's a fair request, but going forward, I mean, I guess let's not reinvent the wheel. If people aren't crying about it, let's not do anything about it. Sort of my approach.
Fair enough.
I was asked, so that's why we're here tonight.
I would say, sorry, Joe, I would say that it's something that, but every year when it comes budget time, it's a conversation for the chief to have with the city administrator and the finance end of things and look at things and where they're at. What's the norm, what's changing, because it's always going to be evolving. And I know it's been mentioned before about pay and bringing them up and paying more per call and stuff. We've talked about it a few times and but I think to your point, Jesse, it is something that it's every year budget time, it's something that should come up. And maybe it stays the same. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's something else we can do, whatever, but to keep things moving forward for the department and for the members on it, I think that's an annual request is, or annual visiting it annually and seeing where it's at.
Right.
And just keep in mind with the support of the city, with the Relief Association funds also. You know, that's our retention.
I mean, and it's always good to have a perspective on it. And even from our end, when I ask a crew of 10 men to go to a project in Tennessee, when we pay per diem, we don't expect them. We hope that per diem covers all of their costs, their mileage, their food, their lodging, et cetera. Never should they have to pay out of pocket to go on a response call for us to a project, whether it's months long or it's a couple days. And I would like to see it just because of my experience. And I know that the heartache at times it can present to those that do feel like they're doing it cheaply, especially in your line of work and the calls and look at the amount of calls that these individuals respond to, even yourself, for example, being away from your wife and your family, and you're having to pay an extra $15 a week because you have a call that's all the way across town to a totally different township, et cetera. So I think that that would be something that I would love to be able to work with you, and I think the rest of the council would, and making sure that you guys aren't paying out of pocket to do what's right. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, that would get pretty expensive. So really, it's not about the money. The only other thing that I would add is if we went back to paper checks instead of direct deposit, that'd make the guys happy because then the
Yes.
spouses don't know what we make.
Yeah, 100%.
We just cash
So,
it.
hey,
So
we do,
it's just-
we should address that. We really should address that because it is a
actually is a
real,
point of contention.
it's a real problem we get paid once a year, right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So everybody uses it as their Christmas fund. And it's not a lot of money, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, depending on how many calls you go on. They all want paper checks. The city has some policy that forced us all into direct deposit. I know this is live and I'm sure all those firemen's wives are watching this.
Okay.
And they're gonna go,
Oh, there's one.
There's one. So it's always been a paper check up until a couple of years ago, and we would request that we go back to a paper check.
Is there an issue that, or a reason why we couldn't perhaps accommodate that?
Well, we certainly can. It's more secure to do the ACH. There's oftentimes bank accounts, information things. I guess you could open a separate bank account would be an option, but if that's the council's wish, you can certainly direct staff to. make
I know that our
exception.
family hands out Christmas bonuses. I hand bonuses out to the employees and say thank you, give them a handshake. I'm sure you do something similar at the year's end when those funds are distributed electronically. It is a little bit different when there's a check in hand and the feeling of appreciation when you can look somebody in the eye and say, thank you for your
Yeah.
hard work.
And they're not every company's doing direct deposit. I mean, I know a dealership just here in Brainerd. The owner hands out the checks every 2 weeks. Paper
We do
checks.
all, yeah, I'm so used to
Yeah.
direct deposit anymore that I don't think, but I think we went direct deposit when it was brought up simply for the convenience and the ease for the financial staff too, it was just simpler, quicker, one less. What?
30 some checks that have to be cut at.
Once a
every-
year,
Yeah,
one time.
Once a year.
well, yeah, you're once a year. It was just one thing for.
Or why don't we do this? Why don't we give the firemen the option? I
Well,
know
and
you're gonna
that's-
get 85% of
what I
the
would
paper
say-
checks, but
What I would say is sit down with Jenny and guys discuss it. And I mean, I don't have a problem with it if there isn't an issue, if there isn't gonna be an issue.
Coming up with a proposal that we can then vote on to then push through. I'm the same boat.
My only thing is that you guys are employees by federal law, you're employees. And as long as, we don't have everybody start requesting paper checks from the other departments and stuff too, because I mean, this is a little unique. It is different. It's a 1-year thing.
So I would ask if the council would like to offer that opportunity for the firefighters, that you would just make a motion to allow that exception to our policy.
I will not vote on any of this.
Well, I'll make. a
And we
motion.
do have a motion on the floor
Yeah,
already.
We do have one on the floor to accept the pay.
I'll second.
Okay,
I'll second
Okay.
Mark's original motion for the pay increase from 20 to 25.
so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I would make a motion that we allow the fire department to be an exception and only the fire department to be an exception to the direct deposit.
I'll second.
now
Any
that we've
further
made it all
discussion?
public.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank
One
you.
abstention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move to council reports. If anyone has anything to say. First, Mayor, I am going to be on June 7th, I am going to be doing the turtle races. So if anyone wants to come down, I'll be there. I think it's the 60th year of turtle races. And they actually supply turtles. That's no fun. We used to have to go catch our own. That was a lot more fun. Then you had to mark them so you didn't get the loser the next time when you turned them loose.
You painted them.
Yeah, just a little mark on, yeah. They were painted turtles anyway.
Yep.
There you are. So,
Right.
and then, the Nisswa Legion on Memorial, on Memorial Day will be having their annual celebration, and at the Legion here in town. So I would encourage if anyone wished to come to that and participate or just mingle with the vets and stuff, it's time for them to, time to say thank you, time and place for you to say thank you to those vets. So that's all I have. Joe?
I guess one thing that I have, met with Jenny and based off our, day-long, what did you call it, retreat? You know, just some of the key points that came out with, personnel needs, issues, stuff like that. Like I say, met with Jenny, working on just, a little bit of, I would say, a proposal, you know, a different viewpoint looking ahead for needs in the city amongst the department and combined with let's say administrative needs, you know, things like that were presented, some of the areas that might not be overlapped, and just try to come up with kind of a, so to speak, a new set of roles, responsibilities, kind of, you know, looking ahead with based upon the employee aspect of the city. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but so I guess what I would say is, you know, Jenny and I are going to meet again here, you know, a couple times, talk about it, but then if we could get together with another kind of workshop, not a full day anything, but just a shorter one, maybe even prior to budget season 2, because if we're doing all these projects and what we heard from all the staff is employee needs, I think that we need to address that or kind of be on top of the agenda and look at that. So yes, that's what I have to say.
And one suggestion just to add to that is if we take a couple of times to meet and go through and put these ideas on paper, that maybe this could be presented at the June workshop as part of kind of the kickoff to budget. So you have kind of all the concepts and the big picture ideas as we kind of start that off. That's just a suggestion. If Joe, if you're good with that.
Yeah, whatever the right timing is
Sure.
on that,
Okay.
that's fine. It's
Sure.
just something that's kind of obvious to me, you know, reflecting on that workshop and the needs of the city and, you know, the future growth with all the departments and what their employee needs are. Just make sure that's kind of on the top of the agenda for everybody.
Yeah, I think the June 13th budget workshop would be a great time to do that.
I have nothing on my end, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mark? No? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to move into closed session. So we will come out of closed session only for the purpose of adjourning, so.
And we have 2 items for closed session. And so I'm going to add to the end of whoever makes the motion, I need to reference the property IDs for the property purchase piece of that. So if someone want to make a motion, Tom's gonna tell me how to do this.
No, I don't know how you're planning to do this, but these should be separate closed sessions if there's separate subjects, right? So go to the first one, close it, do what you're gonna do, come out of it.
Okay.
Reopen, open, then code the next one and close it.
Okay. So
Okay,
then we'll adjourn.
Yes,
Okay.
so I'm gonna make a motion for 2,
just take the first one,
the
Jess.
first one. All right.
Property
And
purchase.
then we'll
if
have
you
a
could.
second. Got it.
Property first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move to closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.03 regarding the consideration of offer for property purchase.
So I'm gonna correct you there, 13D.05 subdivision 3C,
Oh,
consideration offer property purchase for PID 2811-0801 and 2811-0803.
As amended.
I'll second.
Second by Mark Fraley. All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand closed.
I'll need about 5 minutes.
Yep.